Surfing and Afghanistan. Surfing and Afghanistan? Strange, right? Almost like mixing up Coca-Cola with red wine. A beach lifestyle sport and a country full of mountains? Random. I'm here today to tell you that surfing is exactly what Afghanistan needs. And to do so, I will show you that there is a neglected and intriguing link between sports and peace. Who am I to talk about surfing? My name is Afridun. I'm the Afghan surf champion, surf pioneer, representing my home country in the World Surfing Games and currently preparing for the Olympic qualifications. What do I know about peace? Well, I know what the opposite of peace is. Born in a war-torn country, in the age of 6, I arrived in Germany as war refugee together with my mother and my sister. Since I was fortunate enough to escape the catastrophe when millions of others weren't, I always had that feeling of doing something for my country. At the same time, being a normal human being, I also wanted to pursue happiness, follow my dreams. So this struggle, go for joy or for responsibility, became a center of my life. Let me tell you the journey why I stand here in front of you today. I will start talking about responsibility. In a country like Afghanistan, how to act responsibly if you want to help. My mother became a doctor, treating patients during the Soviet war. My sister became a doctor, working for Doctors Without Borders. I decided to become a lawyer to work on states building. So here I was, after 7 years of studying, specialized on constitutional law, with the goal to work on a failed state, ready to save Afghanistan. I worked for an international organization on the implementation of the new Afghan constitution. I traveled extensively to Afghanistan, met a lot of politicians, lawyers, regular people. I directed a few projects and got to know Afghanistan once again. But soon enough, my naive idealism got confronted with reality. Making the Afghan constitution work better on paper sounds like a noble endeavor. But does it make life on the ground better? I couldn't tell a difference. So I got frustrated, and from frustration grew resignation. If my job neither fills me in with joy, nor does it serve a higher cause, screw responsibility. I might as well just do what I love, what I'm passionate about. And that's surfing. So let me talk about joy. I picked up surfing in the age of 19, and by the time I went to my first legal mission to Afghanistan, I was already the Afghan surf champion. So 2 years ago, I quit my job and focused on surfing. Let's watch a video.
There's Afri from Afghanistan. That's right. He is motivational. He is inspiration. He is a doer.
Of all competitors here, he has to be top 5 most stoked humans on the beach.
Well, it's the first time in Afghanistan is in the World Surfing Games, and I'm happy that I can represent Afghanistan.
افریدون را در تمپلهوف، محلی که در گذشته یکی از فرودگاه‌های برلین بود، ملاقات می‌کنم. برای تمرین موج سواری به اینجا آمده.
I became the first competitor from Afghanistan in the World Surfing Games. And since surfing has become an Olympic discipline, I was granted a scholarship from the Olympic Committee to focus on the qualification for the Tokyo Games 2020. For me, surfing is the ultimate joy. It's a feeling that I almost only know as a child. Pure experience, No thoughts whatsoever about anything else. No past, no future, just the very now. And it's also this adventure, this never-ending excitement of exploring new waves in new countries. Now, this is where it gets crazy. How to think of a bigger adventure than surfing in Afghanistan? But how to surf in Afghanistan? Nobody has ever done it before. Nobody has ever thought about it before. There wasn't even a word for surfing in the local languages. And it's a landlocked country. The closest half-decent ocean wave is another 2,000 kilometers away, 25 hours of driving if you're willing to pass via Taliban strongholds. But there's a hack. You don't need an ocean. And the last couple of years, river surfing has become more and more a thing. And rivers, there are plenty in Afghanistan. So what started as a joke between me and being a river surfing friend of mine became less and less bizarre, but more and more tangible. An Afghan surf expedition. Eventually, after 3 years, a group of committed river surfers were sitting in the plane on their way to Kabul. I went a month earlier to tackle all the security issues together with our local partner, Peace and Sports Council of Afghanistan. The plan was to pick up the others at the airport together with our head of security, a warm and caring man in his late 40s whom we all called Momo John, which in Persian translates into something like dear uncle. Arriving in Kabul, you immediately realize this is no normal place. Military planes on the tarmac, massive fortification, barbed wire fencing, anti-blast walls, dogs looking for explosive, armed men everywhere. I will never forget the expression of our friends when we picked them up in the airport. It was written on their faces. What the hell were we thinking coming here to surf? If this is supposed to be a safe place, how does the rest of the country look like? We don't want to put our surfboards on the pickup and leave the airport, but rather just go straight back home. Well, obviously we did continue, otherwise I wouldn't be standing here in front of you. What do you think? What is the most frequent thing you will face when traveling in Afghanistan? Checkpoints. And you know, the bad thing about checkpoints is you never know what will happen. Anything unusual gets investigated. Often, at least sometimes, you're denied to pass. Very often, you don't even know who the guys with the guns are. So, when we arrived at the first checkpoint, the checkpoint guy came to us and was asking, "What is in your bags?" Before I could say anything, Momo John already replied, "Takht moj swari," which literally translates into boards to ride waves. Remember, there wasn't even a word for surfing, which is why I invented Mauchwari and Dari. So the guy looked puzzled. What is that? Momo John, boards to ride waves. The guy, what do you want to do with that? Momo John, ride waves. We will never find out what that guy was thinking in the moment, but all he said was, okay, go. Traveling with a surfboard in Afghanistan, and you will experience a lot of, let's call them, interesting situations like this. But, well, as you can see, we captured a lot of those moments in our movie about our expedition Unsurfed Afghanistan and also in the YouTube documentary Surfistan. But adventure is not what mattered in our expedition most. Unexpectedly, in this expedition, I found something that I haven't seen during my professional work and development. Surfing sparked excitement and joy in the eyes of everyone who was watching us doing it. My surfboard had a bigger impact than my constitutional law degree. Momo John told me for him it was unbelievable how someone could stand on a piece of hard foam and resin and dance on the water. He told me, if this is possible, anything is. This expression of hope and happiness touched me deeply. Afghanistan is ranked 154th in the last World Happiness Review 2019, third to last. Other countries being in the bottom part are Syria, Yemen, and the two last ones, Central African Republic and the South Sudan. What all countries share is that they were or are facing war. No rocket science here. From war follows no happiness. Maslow's hierarchy of needs explains why happiness rates in those countries are so low. It clusters human needs and postulates that only if our more basic needs are fulfilled will we turn to our higher needs, like self-actualization. Most of humanitarian and development aid focuses on basic needs, providing security, shelter, food, health. Being happy only comes after being safe. But for humans, it's not enough to just survive. Life is also about enjoying it. My motivation to go to development aid in Afghanistan was to make lives in Afghanistan better. Afghanistan is facing war since 40 years. Most of the Afghans alive haven't seen anything but war, with the hope that once the conflict stops, happiness will follow. How much longer should they wait? Now to my main point. Joy promotes peace. How? Sow a thought and you reap an action. Sow an action and you reap a habit. Sow a habit and you reap a character. Sow a character and you reap a destiny. This is one of my favorite wisdoms coming from Ralph Emerson. What it basically says is that our thinking shapes our reality. If you're constantly facing existential crisis, your fears will become bigger and bigger. Your struggle will become your destiny. One seed of thought becomes the entire tree of your life. It's a vicious, poisonous cycle for your mind. Permanent war makes people forget what peace is. So, from no happiness, war is kept alive. In order to have peace, we have to practice peaceful, joyful thinking. I perceived my inner struggle to go for joy or responsibility as two forces pulling into opposite directions. But in our Afghanistan expedition, I realized that bringing both together allows me to go so much further. Sports have an immense power to transform lives. The essence of sports is experiencing, sharing joy. Joy is one way to overcome the dark sides of life. For me, this is the special link between sports and peace. Sports as a tool to foster peace. Prominent and successful initiatives like Afghanistan have shown once and again that development aid centered on human joy works. I invite all of you, let's invest into joy. This is my reason why I want to build up surfing in Afghanistan. Together with like-minded NGOs, we are working on a series of projects. And once again, you are more than welcome to support us. If you're interested, just drop me a line. I will give you 3 examples. Since the majority of Afghan kids can't swim, we want to provide swimming facilities in Bamiyan, central Afghanistan, and provide swimming courses free of charge for all genders. This is Bamiyan, by the way, beautiful place. A second project is a low-scale artificial wave in Panjshir, northeast Afghanistan, like the one you can see they have in Salzburg, Austria, so that beginners can pick up surfing. Another project that I just recently started to work on together with Sebastian Steutner, one of the best big wave surfers in the world, If you can't see him, he's the dot in the middle of the picture. So what we want to do is teach refugees how to swim, then teach them how to surf on an artificial wave in Berlin, and finally spend 2 weeks in Portugal and teach them how to surf in the ocean. For many, that will be the first time seeing the ocean. Goal of this project, which will be supported by professional psychologists, is to help them overcome traumas coming from experiencing or escaping war. So, you've seen me talking the last couple of minutes about an absurd-seeming combination, surfing and Afghanistan. But have you ever heard of calimocho? It's an invention of the late 70s, and by now, an iconic drink from the Basque country. And now guess what it's made of. Surfing in Afghanistan is not a random combination. It's a different path to have a positive impact on people's lives. It's a small step towards peace with a drop of joy. Like Mama John said, if this is possible, anything is. Thank you very much.